Hey guys, so in this video, I'm not going to do a reaction to ERB's Mother Teresa versus Sigmund Freud because I've already seen this several times. But what I'm going to do is more of an analysis of the rap battle than a reaction. Anyway, I want to point out so far the reactions I have seen to this rap battle, the people that have little to no idea of Sigmund Freud or about his work or his contributions to modern day psychology, because he is the father of it, said Mother Teresa won the battle. While people like me, who are on the side of Sigmund Freud winning this battle, understand a lot about Freud, or just enough to understand that he wins this thing. And we also, get why he won. And I'll explain that in the rap battle. I'll pause it throughout the rap battle to explain what's going on. But now we have two figures here. One's an atheist, obviously, that's Freud. Freud was born into a German Jewish family. So he was born into a religious community and a religious ideology. And as Freud grew up, and it's in biographies about him, it's even in some of his own books, Freud himself didn't believe in God. Freud himself didn't see no evidence for God, and he didn't see why it would make sense to even believe in a God. And he thought that anything of a supernatural experience someone had, or a religious experience someone had, was all due to an image put in their brain by their imagination, essentially. And Mother Teresa, who was a sister of the Catholic Church, I believe she worked at the Vatican before she went to Calcutta. I could be wrong on that. But, she did so-called charity work, and I say so-called charity work because there are stuff about Mother Teresa which even Catholics had said about Pope Francis canonizing her as a saint, saying, she wasn't a saint. By any means, she wasn't. Even Catholics doubt Mother Teresa's charity work. That being said, let's get into this beginning. Okay, now what are we seeing Mother Teresa doing? Like she's greeting people, then she has the praying hands. And what do we have Freud doing here? If you really take a close look, he has his watch set for his hysteria session. Because if you know anything about Freud, you would know, and as I just said, he thought anybody who had believed in God or had any spiritual or supernatural experience believed that it was all in the brain, which you could kind of say is hysteria, right? Well, Nice Peter, who's playing Sigmund Freud here, has his watch out ready for a hysteria session with Mother Teresa. And we know Mother Teresa was a religious sister who, and respectively, kind of did lose her faith before she died. So, conservative cardinal bishop at the Vatican, they'll say, oh, those letters don't say that she lost her faith. Yeah, they do. She questions the existence of God. You kind of losing your faith when you question the existence of God. That's just, reality. But what we see Freud doing is saying his watch for a hysteria session.
Teresa, short called me MD. I'm a missionary of charity MC. Like a
before I continue, do you know how she's starting off the rap battle? She's just propping up herself as, I'm the best person here. I'm the best person in the room. I'm the only person that people find inspirational. She's talking from the id. She has no idea she's talking about herself like this. Sigmund Freud talked about that there were three parts of the ego. The id, the ego, and the superego. Now, she's talking from the id. She claims to care about the people, but she really cares about herself. Hence why she's rattling all this stuff off about her. That's really a cheap shot, because even if Sigmund Freud did get a Nobel Peace Prize, that still wouldn't change the fact that he's the father of modern-day psychology.
Lines like the DMV and DMV takes polls, but I ain't got no DMV.
Which is a dig at his theory that women have penis envy, essentially, which is, once again, not true for all women, or I should say for most women. Some women are lesbians, some women are bisexual, some women are straight, but just because the bisexual women or straight women choose sometimes men over women, right? Doesn't mean that they have dick envy either. So, yeah. That's a dig at his theory. I want to go back to that. I couldn't ask for any better adversary on the mic. She's talking about herself, propping herself up as the best person in the room.
On the mic, and the father of psychoanalysis. Look at that egghead. Mama wants an omelet. I'm here to correct the mind behind the mom sex complex. I gave...
Once again, dig at his theory. If you have no idea what the mom sex complex is, it's Sigmund Freud believed, and most psychologists, including those who follow psychoanalysis or are psychoanalysis therapists, don't even agree with Freud here, that every boy, right, is attracted to his mother, and therefore he wants to kill his father to be with his mother, right? That's the theory. No. Nope. Not true. Most psychologists don't even agree with that. But it's a denouncement at his theory, but she is once again talking about herself here.
Food, bed, medicine, and showers to those whose flesh leprosy had devoured.
Yeah, that's what you want people to believe, Teresa.
Your legacy is people who are mad at their parents complaining on the couch for $200 an hour.
No, he's the father of modern-day psychology. That his legacy isn't people complaining on the couch to him. His legacy is watching people live, and he's gonna get into that.
Jokes that can make about your looks abundant, your chastity vow redundant, but that's...
Okay. Notice the first two things he said are extremely important. The jokes I can make about your looks abundant. Your chastity vow redundant. You know why he said your chastity vow is redundant? Because she says she's here to crack the mind behind the mom sex complex, but she's a nun. She has to take a vow of chastity. So it's kind of redundant to go after him on the topic of sex. Because your only option there, Teresa, is chastity. And the whole abundant thing is that he could say a lot of jokes about her looks, but he's not going to. He's going to detest her actions. But we're at the line. But that's enough about Mary B, which was her real name.
Enough about Mary B. Let's turn to my favorite subject, me. I got...
Okay, this is where we're getting into the ego. And Freud knows he's going to talk about himself in the ego but not in the id, but the ego. Because we all have a healthy amount of ego. We really do. All of us talk about ourselves in the ego at times. We all do it, and I think we all know it, but we don't want to admit it.
Mouth cancer wasn't feeling so hot. Had the doc put me down with some morphine shots. Think imaginary God, I wasn't in one of your beds. You'd have just sprinkled magic water on my forehead.
Yeah. Okay, so if you know anything about Mother Teresa's charity work, like her so-called helping the sick people of Calcutta, she would use dirty needles. She wouldn't sterilize them. She would give them expired medicine. And those who didn't have leprosy, which leprosy you're going to die from. There was no cure for leprosy then. But the people that were, were under the so-called care of Mother Teresa that had curable stuff, instead of going to the hospital, she basically didn't give them any medicine for pain or any shit like that. She watched them die. She didn't take care of people. She didn't send those who were having infections to the hospital. She used dirty needles on them. Dirty needles. This was during the time of HIV as well. So, yeah. So, when he says, thank imaginary God I wasn't in one of your beds, you would just spring magic water on my forehead, and you see her, when he's about to say that, you see her roll her eyes like it's no big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. When you say you take care of people, you should give them proper medicine and proper care, and not just sprinkle holy water on their head and force them to convert to believing in God before they died needlessly.
Magic water on my forehead. I help people live. You watch people die to get souls for a man in the sky. You took credits that you didn't deserve. You're the biggest sister act since Whoopi Goldberg. You were running Project...
Before we get to that, where he says, I watched people live, meaning he helped people. You watched people die to get souls for the man in the sky. Like I just said before, the stuff that she did, she was trying to convert them to Christianity and not really doing charity work. So that's when he says, you're the fakest sister act since Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, I like the movie, but in the movie, she's not a real nun. She's running away from the law.
You were running Project Pimps and Projects. To you, Calcutta meant Calcutta Jackets.
Yep. That's one of the huge, valid complaints against Mother Teresa. Is where did all those donations go? And then we figured out sometime after she died, they went to the Vatican Bank. Not for medicine to help people, not for clean needles, not for bedding, not for clothing, not for food, but to the Vatican Bank. So when he says, I could see through you, he's right.
See right through you and you've got no flavor. I'm battling a communion wafer.
You call that the butter?
And that's a dig at Catholicism. Communion wafers, Catholicism.
You're super ego tripping. I got to say, Sigmund, you're Freudian slipping. I built a...
He's not, though. He called out everything that's against you. He, for the most part of that verse, was really dissing you and not your looks or your chastity vow. But he was dissing your actions. So she's saying he's super ego tripping. No, she is. Now she's going to talk in the super ego.
Say, Sigmund, you're Freudian slipping. I built bad dishes in my savior's name. All you built was a mad tolerance for cocaine.
Once again, redundant. You're a nun. Why would you know anything about cocaine? Once again, why would you bring up masturbation? You have a vow of chastity.
Are the only place you'll ever be as dope as me. I make my rhymes count like beads on a rose. After I'm through wrecking you, I'll have to go.
See how much often she's bringing up sex? When, once again, her chastity vow is redundant. So her talking about sex would make no sense.
A new confession just for standing next to you on the second coming. I'm blessed like a kid. I end you like a prayer, mother lover, amen.
Okay. You know how much she was talking about herself in the second verse again? Instead of really talking about Sigmund Freud? She talked a little less about him in the second verse. Now watch Freud. Now I should say, I'll point out Freud's comeback.
Like a prayer, mother lover, amen.
I noticed that you talk a lot about yourself, which is funny since you
Exactly. She's talking a lot about herself.
hide your true feelings like they were other people's money. Ooh. And
Yeah. Yeah. So, now Freud's kind of had it with her at this point in the rap battle because it's like, he was really, to be fair, he was actually pretty pleasant to her in the first verse, right? Like, I'm not going to make, I could make tons of jokes about your looks, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make fun of your chastity vow because there's no point, but I'm going to detest your actions. And that's kind of nice compared to what Teresa was doing, right? Saying, oh, how you're stupid, you're unintelligent, and blah, blah, blah. I'm holier than thou because I'm a nun and I'm doing charity work for Jesus. And now he's going to kind of go after her with the sex topic at this point.
Things like they were other people's money. Ooh, an exception to my theory. I can't believe this. Here we have a mother that no one wants to sleep with. Had a nice message, but
You could see the look is like,
that no one wants to sleep with. Had a nice
you could see his look like, see, I could go there too.
I can't believe this. Here we have a mother that no one wants to sleep with. Had a nice message, but your methods were detestable. I've seen better care given to organic vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, no one doubts that she had a nice message of charity and love and peace. Nobody doubts that. But it's how she's so-called taking care of the sick people of Calcutta, which is kind of detestable. It really is.
I've seen better care given to organic vegetables.
I can agree.
All these tokens of smoke and miracles. You really believe all this stuff? You're hysterical. I've got the libido to continue to beat ya. But our time is up, Teresa. Hey.
Okay. Remember I said how at the very beginning he was saying his Watch Up for Hysteria session? Well, when he said, all these tokens and smoke and mirrors, you really all believe this stuff, you're hysterical. Meaning, you're crazy. You could have helped these people. Or you could have helped the suffering of those not be as painful. But, and then he said, I got a libido not continuing to beat ya, but our time is up, Teresa. So he basically said, his libido meaning that he can just go on and on about her detestable actions. But yeah, Freud won this battle. Hands down. Hands down. His lines were not meant to be as flowing or as funny as Mother Teresa's were. But Mother Teresa had nothing on Sigmund Freud. He had everything on Mother Teresa. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll link the original video in the description box below. See you next time.